and family, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you? Has anyone asked you how you're doing today? We care. You're invited into the space. You're so very welcome into this space. And I hope that you find it comfortable. I hope that you find it a place of peace, a place of respite. And just know that if you're watching this, you're meant to be here. In just a little while, I'd like to bring someone into the conversation that I tend to have a lot of conversations with. One of my best friends. He is one of the loves of my life, and he just so happens to be my daddy. So without further ado, Daddy! Hi, Papa.
What's up, baby doll? How you
Hi,
doing?
B. I'm good.
Good. Good.
How are you?
I'm awesome. This is a long time coming.
Long time.
Should have been a long time ago.
Well, I kind
Well,
of
I
sort
say
of
that.
feel like this is the appointed time.
I believe that, but I think we have a lot of cataloged information.
Yeah.
We've been having long talks since you were a little girl.
Yes, sir.
I remember. Well, Let me go because I could just start, but I'm gonna
Go
give
for
you.
it. Go.
You're doing this great hostess kind of situation. I like it. I like it. So anyway, and you look pretty too. You look gorgeous. You look like your mom.
Thank
Anyway, so just thinking back over the years, you've always been the kind of daughter, individual, which is very important, that was always inquisitive. You never was concerned about where we live. You were concerned about how do we live here? Where'd you get the money from? I remember we moved in our first home. We bought our first home. I think you were probably, I don't know, maybe 9 years old. And you said, well, Daddy, how'd you get this house? And then she said, well, how much it costs? And I said, well, it costs whatever. She says, well, how did you do it? Did you have all the money or did somebody help you with the money? How did you? And I said, well, we did what we call bank financing. And I explained the whole mortgage process to you at that point. So you've always been a very detailed, inquisitive individual. So we've always had these in-depth conversations. So we're just glad to have other people join us.
And it's nice,
Yeah,
right? Well, yeah.
yeah,
So you made it pretty clear. You and I have always I get my analytical mind from you. The
yeah.
older I get, the more that is confirmed in me. Like the way that I like to break apart things, I like to know the nuances. I like to know the root. I like to trace root. I like to trace why things happen the way that they happen. And I got that from you. So yeah,
Right.
we've always had like these in-depth conversations. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like of all of the kids, you and I have the most in-depth conversation.
Almost definitely,
Okay.
without a doubt. Without a
Okay.
doubt. It doesn't mean that I don't have, I think I have different kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
I have never, as a father, I have done my best never to measure the relationship I have with my kids by one standard because
Yeah.
you guys are so uniquely alike, but also vastly different.
Yeah.
You carry your own unique way of processing, living life, tackling life, attacking life in any way you want to say it. You have your own unique way of doing it. So you have your own unique way of communicating with me
Right.
and making your point. So I wouldn't say our conversations are more in depth. I think they're more detailed.
Mm.
I think I have the same with Satara, I have the same with Zaya, I have the same with Jack. We're not as frequent because you and I, whenever you're around, we're going to get in
Yeah.
some form of depth conversation, whether it be political, whether it be spiritual,
Yeah.
whether it be, R&B, whether it be rap, whatever it is, we're going to get into something. So this right here is not only going to be good for us, as it always is, but it's going to be good for those who are able to glean from this. So, and
Absolutely.
that's how prayer is that, hey, if they get something from it, if you guys get something from this, we've done our job.
So yeah, to give the folk an idea of who we are and where we come from, I am the second born of four children,
Mm-hmm.
four kids. There's Satara, who is the oldest. There's
Mm-hmm.
Elika Karina, by the way.
Right.
There's Jackie, who is the third girl, and there's Zaya, who is our prince, the last born and the only boy and the baby of the family.
Okay, now you got to tell the people how you got your name.
Oh, I was
That's,
named after my daddy.
huh?
You can correct me if I'm wrong, Papa. You and mommy had Tara first.
Yes.
Then mommy got pregnant with me, or there was this idea concept the next kid was going to be a boy.
That
Like
bottom line.
desire that the
Right.
next kid was going to be a boy.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
went to Hawaii, y'all went to Hawaii, or someone else went to Hawaii
Right.
and got a coffee mug. Your name,
Mhm.
which is Eric. My
Right.
father's name is Eric Morrison.
Right. Right.
First name Eric was on one side of the mug, and on the
Right.
other side was
What's your
the Hawaiian version, interpretation, derivative of that, which was Alika. I
Mm-hmm.
changed it once you found out I was going to be a boy, just a little bit to suit,
No, no.
or once you found out I
Knew
was going to
you
be
were.
a girl.
We knew you were a girl when we went to Hawaii because your mom was pregnant.
Oh.
We knew you were a girl. We at that point we had already knew you were a girl at that point. So we got the coffee mug,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you were a girl, and Elika was a derivative Eric. And I said, if I can't have a boy, at least you let her have my initials. So we came up with Elika Karina. Karina is a derivative of Choice and Renee. Your mom's middle name is Renee. My middle name is Choice, so we got Karina. So it was like Eric Karina. So that's how we came up with that. So you would have ECM, my initials.
So it's not a coincidence that I am very much so like my father because I was
No,
after
you're the
him.
blueprint of me. That's also why we've always had some intense, how can I say, intense reasonings together.
Oh my. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it's okay.
no,
Yeah,
it's been all
it's
good and
been
it's
very
brought
medicinal. Yes, very much so. So anyway, and as for me, of course, I'm Elika's father. She's the second born. Uh, my life is pretty much, I think, if you've heard me minister or ever heard me preach or anything over the last 40 years, you've probably heard a little bit about my history, but I'm not going to go into my history on the occupation side or anything. I'm going to go on my history as a father side and uh, understanding what it meant to be a father. When I had my first daughter, Satara, and Elika came soon after, I didn't know what a father really represented. I had puzzles. I had pieces of a puzzle. And pieces of a puzzle are the pieces that I picked up from those that were influential in my life growing up that I deemed as fathers, or I saw as fathers. And I chose those people, those pieces, and began to put together what I deemed as an adequate father. Now, to be totally honest with you, the pieces I put together were not enduring pieces. Some of the pieces I had to change, burn up, and get rid of because they were not pieces that were valuable or medicinal. But when you're growing and you're young and you're trying to build a family and you're trying to be a pastor and you're trying to be, you're trying to switch from that worldly life into this religious life and all of that, you have a lot of things going on. I'm in the military at the time. I'm battling a lot of things, but I don't remember thinking of it as a large battle when I was younger. I thought of it as just being a father and being a husband. So I'll start there, and I'm gonna let you talk, baby. I could go on and on, but anyway, you want to get into some dialogue? You want to talk about some specific issues? How do we want to?
Doing
How
good.
do we want to? I think. Uh, let me just. I was thinking about this the other day, and in fact, this morning I was thinking about it. I have these conversations with myself, and when you're at our house, you come over, you hear me talking to myself sometimes. These conversations I'm having about the event that's coming up. So I was thinking about this event, and I was thinking about a father being in love with his daughters until he has to release them to
Mm,
be loved by someone else.
mm.
Uh, we often don't think about the transition of a father and what he goes through when his daughter becomes a woman.
We don't. Not enough people talk about that.
And she transitioned from her virginal state to her woman state. And you, as a father, know the transition, but you can't express it. You can't talk about it. It's a it's a pain that you can't explain. And it's also a pleasure in the sense that you've raised her to be this kind of woman. And
Yeah.
that whoever she chose, she made a good choice based on the values you gave her.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you can't monitor your kids as adult. You can't legislate them. You can't rule them. All you can do is invest in what you put in them and believe that the decision that they're making is the right decision. But I was just thinking about that transition as a father. It's like, it's very difficult for a real father, and I emphasize that, to go from being, for you guys to go from being daddy's girls to grown women.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I literally can only imagine because
It's
I
tough.
am a mom. I'm a mom, but I'm not a
Right,
dad, you know.
right. And
And
it's even, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say that I think that it's worth noting and worth saying that those kinds of conversations need to be had. While it
Oh,
is difficult, it could be difficult. You've stated that it's difficult for fathers to process that change. Um, I do think that there should be places where men can go and have conversations about these kinds of occurrences and these kinds of changes in life. I would love to change the narrative of that. I would love for it to not be, well, you can't really put into words, or you can't really say this and you can't really say that. I would love to contribute to a community that promotes having the difficult conversations, you
they're
know?
having some open dialogue.
And yeah.
Well, I think for, especially for a male of darker complexion,
Yeah.
it's a very difficult balance between emoting and perceived masculinity.
Ay, ay, ay. Yes.
It's a very difficult balance. Uh, and if a man doesn't come to terms with what he has sown, and let me put it in clearer terms, if he doesn't understand what he has built, then he'll be stunted in his ability to grow emotionally.
Mm.
You know, we as a society, we focus on the successful man or the successful woman being someone who successfully navigates this economic prison that we live in, as being a darker persuaded individual, black or, you know, female or male,
Material.
how we navigate that. But we forget how damaging it can be emotionally when you have to suppress certain emotions for the sake of appearing, for the
Absolutely.
sake of appearing. You understand what I'm saying? So I think uh, that would have been a difficult conversation for me to have in my 30s, in my 40s, simply because I don't know if there would have been enough collective people to understand it not being a sign of weakness, or
Yeah.
it not being a perverted idea, but it simply being, uh, how do I put it, a shifting of your
Yeah.
heart's motivation. You understand what I'm saying? Because as a
That is,
father,
yeah,
as
no. Mhm.
as a father, excuse me, I'm sorry, babe. As a father, you protect that. When it comes to your daughter, you protect her pureness, her her
Pervert.
innocence.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing that you want her to prize, because as a father, that's what you prize.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? So uh, now this is not for every father. This is not for every daughter. This is for individuals whose level of relationship that we've strived for as a community, as a family. There's levels to this thing. I mean, it's not just everybody can wake up and say, well, this is what no, there were steps to want us to be, for me to have that kind of envision for my daughters, of purity and all. You understand what I'm saying? When I say purity, I don't mean not absence of sex. That's, I think sometimes we get it all mixed up, but understanding the role of sex
Yeah.
within the
And
context
understanding
of
our
who you
work.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and understanding the value of that's not to be given away. You understand what I'm saying? So I think when I knew it was a shifting of the heart, not a changing of the heart.
Right.
And it was really a sealing of your independence. It was a sealing of Satara's independence, Jacqueline's independence, Zeta's independence. It was a sealing of saying, okay, you're grown now. Because when you can make those kind of decisions, I'm now your advisor.
Right.
I'm not your, I'm not your dad. I am your dad. I always, but now I'm more like
Not the
your.
steward of our destinies or the steward of our lives.
There you go.
We take over the stewardship of our lives at that point. Yeah.
There you go. And my job then is to create a pleasant environment so you'll enjoy being around me. At that point, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was the biggest thing. I think that was the thing that I was thinking about doing, and it's just so many other things that you
So
and
many
I.
other things. I kind of want to go back though. I want to go back
Go
to
ahead.
you made a delineation. You pointed out that there is a difference in men, in males, in fathers, in
Right.
dads. So my question to you would be, seeing as how you are a dad, you are a father, you've always been a constant in our lives. I'll speak for myself. And I'll give you your flowers too. I believe in giving flowers while we're still here, right? Let's not wait. Someone who's always shown up, someone who's always been present, someone who's always provided. And I'm not just talking about the material world. I'm talking about provided in every sense of the word, right? So emotionally and direction wise and spirit wise and direction for life and all of those things, right? You've been a provider. So someone who has filled those shoes for as long as I've been here.
Mhm.
In your opinion, what makes a man? That's the first question. Man. What
Mhm.
makes a father? What makes a dad? Because is a man and a male the same thing?
Mhm.
Are all males men?
Okay. Oh, that the first question?
That's the first
Because
question.
you gave me like 3 or 4 different questions. We'll
Sorry
deal
about
with.
that.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If I use my backdrop of knowledge, and my knowledge is based upon scripture, and anything derived from scripture becomes the backdrop of my knowledge and what I consider to be a man. The Bible says when we become a man, we put away childish things. So manhood has nothing to do with the age in which I am legally considered to be a man here in the United States, and I can do a long prison term. That's to me, that's not manhood. Manhood is when I start making quality decisions about my life. And I decide at that point to be accountable, not only for my successes, but also be accountable for my failures and learn from those failures and not reproduce those failures in the seed that I produce. That's manhood. Manhood is about a complete, total accountability to the well being of others,
Oh, wow.
not your own. That's what manhood is all about.
Manhood is a complete and total accountability to the well-being and welfare of others around
And
us.
in the meantime, he'll take care of you. It's a trust factor. It's not even a you be a good girl and I'm gonna be a good dad. You be a good wife and I'm gonna be a good husband. It's a matter of I like to call what I call systematic lineage success. Systematic lineage success to me is this: it's when a pattern in a family changes and it changes the generation that follows.
Which is what you did.
Which all broken patterns in a particular family now started somewhere.
Right.
And either we can claim it or we can disdain it. It's our choice. My choice is to try to disdain it. And when I find out the pattern that I've taken is not beneficial to the people that follow, I change. So I think the most important thing about being a man is flexibility and
Oh,
the
wow.
ability to adjust. Most real men can adjust.
Most say that again.
Most real men can adjust. You go from being a slave,
Hmm.
being free, to nothing. You're set free to nothing.
That's an adjustment.
Flexibility, adjustment. Those that don't adjust choose to be in bondage because it's safer. Bondage is always safer than freedom.
Because you don't dictate, you don't orchestrate what you're doing. You're just in bondage.
And,
So it's someone
and,
else's.
you and you can always claim it's the master's fault. It's my co-labor's fault. It's somebody else's fault. So as being a man, accountability becomes really important.
So would
Now,
you say that that's the difference? Like in being a man, it's about accountability. It's about showing up. It's about saying yes. It's about realizing that the decisions and the choices that I make, if they are affecting those that I love and surround me in a negative way, I've got to change those things. I've got to make some alterations. That's a man, as opposed to, well, this is what's happened to me. This is the situation I was born in. So whatever happens, happens. And I'm a victim of my circumstance. So I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get by.
okay, can I give you some, okay, you asked me the question. You said the difference between a male and a man. We dealt with the man's standpoint. The man's standpoint to me is a man that comes to an understanding of his accountability. It's his ability to look around him and say this, and culpable for his own success, that he himself is responsible for his own success and his own failure. Now that's a man. That doesn't necessarily make him a father.
No.
All of those things are just factors in being a man and being a good man.
Right. And that's why I asked the question, Papa, because in my circle of friends, in my circle of girlfriends, a lot of us are single. I'm single. I was once married, then got a divorce, then I had
Right.
a daughter. I never married her father.
Mhm.
And so I have been processing the matters of a man, what that looks like. And of course, I had a really wonderful example in you, but it's a lot to take in and a lot for a woman to try and understand it. And I'm sure that it's the same on the other side. But that's why I asked the question, right? Like, what is the difference between a man and a male? Because you may get in a relationship with a male who you want to believe is the kind of man that you want to be in relationship with. And then
Okay,
as, okay,
let's lay that along the paradigm in which I first gave.
okay.
First of all, males. This is going to sound, I don't know, but let's just throw it out there. There is an animalistic instinct that we have for survival. There's a part.
The
There
male
is a.
species.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
The male species, is that what you're speaking to?
Just the human species.
Human species, okay.
In order to survive, we do different things. If survival becomes difficult, then we do whatever is whatever we need to do to survive. Now, as a male, I do what I have to survive. I have a job, I have a car, I have a house. Never mistake that for stability. That's survival.
So good you said that, because I think we as women, single women, sometimes we think that that means that, keep talking,
Don't
Papa,
go,
keep talking.
don't go to his house and don't get in his car and don't check his bank account and say, oh, okay, he's a man. No, he's a male. He's a male living by survival instincts. Now let's do the man checklist. Does he have kids? When you walk in his house, do you see pictures of his kids? Does he mention his kids? How quickly do you meet him? Does he let you meet his kids? Is it right away? Or does he give it some time?
Excellent. Excellent.
Does he get along with his ex-wife, girlfriend? How is his relationship with his dad? How is his relationship with his mom?
Hmm.
Because here's what it is. You can be a male and have the appearance of a man and never fit the description of a husband.
Ding, ding, ding.
Because what you do as a male is to survive. And the outcome is you look like a man.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a man.
You're not a man. Now, what was the statement you said between the difference between a
Male of
Male,
male sex, of male gender. And
right, and a man. So I gave you that. Now, what was the other one? You gave
so
me another.
then, yeah, you gave us some really good
Now,
nuggets.
now let's go to the father. And you take that same paradigm. We go with the male. The male is born, we're born with certain natural instincts. We're gonna work. A
Mhm.
man that doesn't work probably has a mama that didn't make him. Most men who are coddled by their moms have difficulty in maintaining consistency in employment. We'll keep on going. We'll leave it alone. Whoever fits this bill.
We'll touch that one on another episode. Okay.
So you take a male, but you take most males, like myself. I was a male because I understood how to survive. I've never been without a job. I've always had a source of income. I started working when I was in high school. I've never not worked. I've always been able to take, because I understood what it meant to live in the jungle called this society.
Yeah.
If you don't hunt, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's just survival stuff. Now, on the surface, I look like I was doing good. I had a nice little apartment, I have a nice little car. I'm threaded up. You know, I'm doing.
Come
I
on, Prince.
I look like I am a potential man, but I'm still just living in malehood. Now, when I moved from malehood to manhood is when I became a father. Because father, when you become a father or a mother, if it doesn't force you to look at your history, then you're probably going to be blinded to your future.
Oh my. Ain't that the truth?
You got to look at when you start to have children, you have to look at the way you're raised, because whatever you don't defeat, you're destined to repeat.
Whatever you don't defeat, you're destined to repeat. You've always
So, what is the difference between a man and a father? A father has a reflection. A father understands where he's come from, and he does everything within his natural power to ensure his kid does not have the same negative experience he has as a child. A father lives with a rearview mirror, but forward thinking.
Oh, I love that.
He thinks ahead, but he looks back because the pattern set yesterday becomes the habits of tomorrow, then becomes the lineage of yesterday. So it just progressive. So what you have to do as a father is that you have to dissect how you were raised. I know we all like to paint our rosy pictures, and you guys, I like to believe that as a father, I did a pretty good job, and I think I did. I did the best I had with what I had, and I would like to believe that you guys paint a rosy picture of your upbringing. But the truth of the matter, raising kids is traumatic, and being a child, being raised is traumatic. It's a meeting of two wills.
Can be. Yeah.
And the bottom line is the meeting of two wills is a natural part of human development if we can have the mending of two hearts. So I think that becomes the responsibility of the parent. That's when you shift from being a man. But some of the stuff that you guys did as a man, I wouldn't have took.
Right.
But as a father, I had to.
No. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
100%. So we're tracking perfectly because my
Right.
next question was going to be, and you've kind of answered it, but I want you to explain. You've been quite successful in parenting 4 children, 3 of which were girls, 1 of which was a boy. You are happily married to our mother. You two have been happily and grossly y'all are still very much so attracted to each other, and we know it, and you guys
Right.
display it all the time, right? So there's a lot of success there. And I'm
Right.
just speaking to it so people can understand and inform this conversation that we're having, because it's not oh, well, we raise kids, but me and my wife are, kind of on the, or my kids don't really like each other, or we're kind of fussing and fighting. And no, we are very close, a very tight-knit, very loving, very bonded family. And I say that in all humility and also all sincerity, right? So
Yes.
comes my next question. Now that I've said all that, why don't fathers stay? Another way of asking it, why do fathers leave?
Okay, can I go back? I want to go back and then I'll give you as best the things that were fearful to me. I
Right.
can't go and
Okay, let's
deal
do
with
it.
every father. I can just simply deal with my own fears, and it may fit the analogy of someone else, but as far as I'm concerned. Now, first of all, most of us as Black males did not choose to be fathers. We were put in that situation because we choose to have sex.
That's real.
Okay.
Me and you, we talk truth. So I
Right,
love
right,
what
right,
you're.
right. So
Yeah.
it was not, we got together for pleasure, but God put us together for purpose, i.e., you guys.
Yes.
So that's a very difficult thing to wrap your head around if you haven't. Everything to me wraps around how you process your past experiences. My past experience was, as many of I've said before, and I don't like to keep talking about it because it's long been healed, but not being raised around my father, having not had my mother, being raised by my grandparents, and having three girls and a son. I wanted you guys to not feel the fear I
Yeah.
had. I wanted you to feel secure.
Yeah.
Uh, so uh, embracing fatherhood was easy for me because I was looking for somewhere to love.
Oh, Papa. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
most men are looking for somewhere where it's safe to love,
Men.
and men.
Okay.
And when it feels unsafe to love, now what I mean by that, feeling safe to love in this sense, I don't come perfected.
Right.
I come with well-intended ideas, but I'm broken and I may not present those ideas properly, but they are well-intended. Now you take that and you put that in juxtaposition to the brokenness of our Black women.
Yes.
We have a very arduous task to perform and make successful relationship out of the pieces we've been given for America as people of color. So your question is not easily answered because to answer that question would be layers and layers of answers. But the immediate answer is they're stupid because they don't know the value of what they produce.
There's
I
that.
mean, nothing. Being a father of four,
Hmm.
make no mistake about it, it's not easy.
Right.
You know, and I remember you guys being younger. I think Satara was 5 when you were born, 4 or 5. How old was she?
Three. She's
She
3
was
years old.
she was 3 years old. So we had a 3 and 1 year old, and then Jackie came along, and then Zaya came along. And one time we had 4 kids in the same house, and you guys were not stair steps, but y'all were close enough.
Mhm.
Uh, it took a lot of coordination. Uh, it also took a determination on my part. And this was something that I thought was very important because in my upbringing, looking in the review of my upbringing, not to cast blame or cast aspersion on my grandmother or how I was raised, but it was so important to me that you guys grew up having someone at home when you got home from school. Somebody drop you off from school, somebody pick you up from school. The security of knowing mom is going to be there.
Well, yeah, so it should be noted that our mom has always been a home
Mm, mm,
maker. She has
right.
always been a stay at home, as it were,
Mm, mhm,
provided a lifestyle for her where she was able to completely flourish and fill that role as
mhm,
a maker.
mhm.
And you and I have had conversations about that, and it was a mutual decision, but it was
Right.
you have also
Yes.
shared with me that it was very important for us to have that sense of security and even emotional stability, just knowing that someone would be there when we
Right.
from school, we would be picked up from school, and
Mhm.
mommy, certainly performed that role. You would pick us
Mhm.
up from school too. I remember my fourth grade year of school, I was the only one, and I felt so ridiculously special. I was the only one that you took to school. And every
Oh,
morning, just about well, not every morning, but at least like 2, 3 times a week, we would stop and get
where
a.
you go to Palm Middle School or Palm
I was there
School?
with the Tom.
What you,
Yeah, this was
but what is it?
elementary school.
What school was this?
You remember, Daddy, we were having the house built. So I went to like 3 different elementary schools in the fourth grade. I went to
That
Cedar
was
Meadow.
that Ridgewater Way? Was that Ridgewater or
It
was
was
that
the,
it was
it was,
Chateau?
oh, I want to say it was the transition from Tierra Canyon to Ridgewater Way because they were building.
I got you. I remember. Yes,
But
I
yeah,
remember.
you would
Okay,
take me to get donuts like 2 or 3 times a week. And
I
that was,
remember. Yeah, that was our little route every morning, wasn't it?
I mean, for kids, you gotta find your little sweet spots and your special spots because that's a lot of attention and energy and love that needs to be shelled out to all of us at different times. We're
Right.
all very different. I mean,
Yeah.
we're definitely courted and very
Right.
um we see ourselves in each other, but we're just
Right.
very different
Uniquely different, very
individually.
much. And your needs are different.
Our
Uh,
needs, even
uh,
now, huh, Papa?
very much so. And the kind of little girls you are, you become the same kind of women. I mean, it's no different than what you were as women. I mean, you think about Jackie. Jackie's always been fairly independent,
Yeah.
but her environment lended her to independence because her two older sisters were much older than her.
Mhm.
So she was kind of raised as a single girl,
Kind of
and
sort.
Zaya to some degree. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Well,
it was you and Satara, and then it was Zaya and Jacqueline. So when you look at those dynamics, and then raising you and Satara and raising all four of you together was a different dynamics for Mom and I when we were raising Jackie and Anthony. I mean Jackie and Zaya alone.
yeah. Me and Tara have commented like we feel like the way you raised Tara and I was very different from the way that you raised
Mm-hmm.
Jackie and Zaya.
But that's always the case with the oldest kids.
Why is that, Papa? Because we're
Well,
the
because you're parenting from a no skill level.
right. That makes
Just
sense.
like I mean, you're a great mom now, but you have the benefit of your mom and myself and other parents that can help you with that process. But imagine raising Leva without having that kind of influence.
Man.
And the pitfalls and all the things you would have to go through in order to arrive at the place of balance. Because with raising kids, it was balance. So with you and Satara, because I didn't have a paradigm, we were creating a paradigm.
Right.
And so by the time you and Satara, and the thing to your commendation and to Satara's commendation, we had to do less training with those kids because you guys trained them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Very.
kind of like, okay, you wanting us to repeat what you're already doing. You already got on to say about cleaning his room. Why do I need Tara's already told Jack about what you understand what it was almost like you guys, especially your older sister Satara, she took on the big sister role in a very dynamic way. To the extent that they wanted to stay with her his senior year in high school.
Yeah.
So I mean, our family dynamics is transferable.
Hmm.
And I believe families should be matriarchal and patriarchal. That the culture of a family should be passed on from generation to generation. And you and Shatara personify the culture we raised you guys in with your kids,
Thank you, Papa.
with the grace that you experience as we mature. So it's all like cyclic.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've been chatting for a while, and I don't want to tire you out, but I want to ask you two things.
Sure.
What's the sweetest, most pleasurable part about being a father? And what's the most difficult?
Now you're gonna make me cry. Don't do that.
Oh, we'll start with the difficult. No, Papa.
Uh, I told you about the most difficult. I started with that. That was the most difficult.
Okay, so can you go over that again?
The brokenness that comes with a man when you realize your little donut girl ain't no little girl no more.
That's the most okay.
You
What
know,
what, what about Zaya? Because Zaya,
well, it's different with boys.
okay,
That's
so
a whole another different interview. That's a different interview.
oh
As a man, you prepare a boy for girls. You have those kinds of conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Because a boy lends himself, and it doesn't mean that I couldn't have those conversations with you,
yeah,
because I can remember us having some conversations about boys and girls, but not to the extent of the synergy you have when you have a boy and you're a man and you're connected in that kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, it was, how do I put it? It was traumatic with the girls. It was drama with the boy. It was trouble with the girls
not
and
drama. What made it drama?
just making sure that we don't multiply.
Before his time, Lord, be offense around his loins. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And on both ends, but that was, and with you guys, it was just like, they're not my little girls no more. They're somebody else's. It's even now, Tara's married, Jackie's married, and you're soon to be married in Jesus' name. Amen. In
Yes.
Yeshua's name.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, have been married in times past. It's a I don't know if I'm unique, or it's a thing a man goes through. When
No.
you when your daughters become women, and then when you guys start having babies, then it's a whole, you really got to figure out where you fit when you start having husbands, and and you got kids, and so it's like you really kind of stand around like a repairman looking for what you can fix and what you can, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, you guys
Y'all
have great,
love to fix stuff. Yeah.
all of you guys, all of my kids, I can safely say it, and giving God the praise, and giving Yeshua the praise. All of my kids take care of themselves. There's like, I don't have a troubled, wayward kid that I gotta find. All my kids are good citizens and good people, and quality people, work, jobs, take care of themselves, take care of their kids, handle their own business and all of that. So I don't have any difficulty in, how do I say, what I've deposited in my kid. But if you ask me what the sweetest thing
Yeah.
is with y'all, my kids.
The sweetest part of
Y'all,
raising the kids is the kids. It's the
the
kids.
success of my kids, to see you guys smiling, happy, uh, to just take a minute here and just, something happened mentally to me when I turned 60. I'm 65 now.
Yes.
But
He's 65. Bet
no
you.
longer, no longer now, when you turn 65, your life kind of like, your your pleasures are the moments,
Sure.
but your goal is ensuring your posterity.
Yeah. What a
It's
shift.
it's the same way that as a father, you hate to see your kids struggle. You know that their life is sometimes a struggle. You hate to see, and if you could remedy all of their struggles, then as a father, you want to ensure that if I'm no longer here, that at least I'm able to still take care of some of the struggles that my kids may endure. So the sweetest thing about being a father is being a father.
I like
Is
that.
being a dad. It's just being a dad. I mean, it's just great. When I look at you guys and look at, I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more thankful. And I couldn't be more impressed by how you guys have incorporated the spirit of Yeshua, of course, the order that you receive, the love and the grace that you receive, and how you have carried that grace and carried that love. And not only have you carried it, the grace and love, but you've given it to others. And that's more than a parent can ask for.
Oh, Daddy,
Did I answer that? Did I
that was
answer that?
beautiful. Yes, you absolutely did. Well, um, you put a lot in us. You and mommy put a lot in us. Um, and you've always said most things are caught, not taught, right? And
Mhm.
you and mommy have always been extremely consistent because it's who you are, right? Just a very authentic people, consistent in your disposition. If people haven't gathered by now, you have pastored for years, right? So we're all PKs, all me and my siblings. And I bring that up simply to say, what'd you say, Papa?
No, go ahead. I
I
didn't say
bring
it.
that up simply to say you've always been the same. You and mommy were the same. We didn't have the kind of setup where it was like y'all were one way at church and then completely different people when we got home. It was the same across the board. What you taught from the pulpit is what we lived at home, right? And I say that to say that is we caught it, right? Like the love you've had for people, the grace, the forgiveness, the kindness, all of that, the extension of yourself. I mean, we've always shared y'all, so we don't know anything other than sharing our parents with other folks. um and so yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much to be said for that. As much as I can appreciate that you are so proud of us and that we are personifying qualities and characteristics that you admire. We are who we are because of you and mom. Like,
God is good.
that's all we know. That's all we
Uh,
know.
yeah.
How are you
Well,
today? You want to keep talking or
you know what? I'm with you. Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you because I can kick in another gift necessary, or I can wind down.
I think that
whatever,
this
whatever.
conversation has been full. I think that it's been robust. There's so much more for us to get into. The next time we talk, though, Dad, I do want to explore. You
Can
had,
I say something to you?
yes, please do.
Every father
Mm.
is not necessarily a leader. Let's talk about that.
Do you want to talk about that now?
No, that's a long, extensive conversation.
Okay.
He's a covering, but not necessarily a leader.
He's a covering, but
But
not necessarily a leader. Okay.
sometimes within the dynamics of a marriage or a relationship, the husband is the covering and the wife is the leader. We don't always understand those dynamics. So
Oh,
we sacrifice relationship in the name of religion because she has a smarter, greater opinion for the future than he does.
oh
So
yeah.
because it doesn't fit our most American culture about the dynamics of marriage, that marriage doesn't make it because they don't understand the dynamics.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day because yeah, yeah.
Can I say something?
Please.
You're a leader.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need to find covering, not a leader.
Can two leaders be in relationship?
Most definitely.
Okay.
As long as they share a common vision.
So
They
he
have
to
they
understand.
have to have something they work on together.
Yes.
And there is a systematic order within that. Here's what I would suggest if a husband and wife power couple decide, okay, we're going to start a business. Here's what I suggest the wife do. Honey, you're the head.
Mm-hmm. Always, yeah.
And fall in that order because that sets the dynamics for the home and it sets the dynamics. Now, within the confines of working in a Fortune 500 company or working in the society, then income determines leadership. And I don't think income should determine leadership. Values and direction should determine leadership. And that can come from both sources.
Excellent.
You know what? I am working around on bad power, so we're going to go.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Daddy, I love you so much. Thank you for
this
this time. I can't wait to do it again.
I hope we do this again real
We
soon.
are.
Listen,
We're going to keep doing.
hopefully, hopefully we can set a schedule with the people and we can come on. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what our schedule allows us to do.
For
Okay,
sure.
because you're
For
busy.
sure. A family
But thank
friend.
you so much.
We love you.
Appreciate you, sweetheart. Love you too, baby. Love you now.
We
Bye bye.
appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Subscribe, like, support this channel. If this did anything for you, if this provided any resource of information for you, and you want to see us do this over and over again, please support us. We love
And
you.
please
God bless you.
follow us. Follow us.
Yeah,
Follow
follow us.
us.
Follow us.
We need that
We're
we
new
come on.
at this, but
Yeah,
follow us, support us,
hey,
okay?
it's gonna be the bomb. Hang with us, y'all. All right. Go ahead, baby. Bye, baby.
Be good to yourselves and your neighbors. Bye.
Amen.